DOJ vows to pursue every single voting violation after New Jersey roll shocker. Harmeet Dillon says activists and local officials are providing leads as the agency runs down each case of non-citizen voting. Justice Department's top civil rights official pledged the Trump administration will pursue every provable case of illegal voting under what she described as a broken windows enforcement strategy, making a sharp shift from prior administrations as the DOJ intensifies scrutiny of voter rolls following revelations that non-citizens were registered to vote in New Jersey. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon told Fox News Digital the department's approach is to investigate every credible lead and prosecute every case supported by the evidence, rejecting what she described as the prior view that only widespread fraud or election-altering misconduct warranted federal action. Yeah, that seems like really stupid, right? Why would you wait until there's enough fraud to swing an election? Why would you not prosecute all of the fraud anyways? Like, that just seems like a really dumb thing that was put in place previously. Good lord, man. The pledge follows revelations from Democratic New Jersey Governor Mike Sherrill that thousands of non-citizens ended up on the state's voter rolls through the motor voter system. What's different, first of all, is the people in charge, and people are policy, Dillon said when asked why the DOJ under previous administrations often uncovered alleged election-related wrongdoing, but rarely secured convictions. Yeah, again, that just seems like a really stupid thing to do no matter who's in power. Why would you not pay attention to that? Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and the other fine career and political lawyers at the Department of Justice are dedicated to enforcing our federal civil rights laws. It is correct that in prior years, there has been this attitude that unless there's some kind of wholesale fraud, or if it changed the outcome of the election, it isn't going to get prosecuted, but that's not our attitude. And it shouldn't be. That's a crazy attitude to have. Dillon said her prosecution philosophy follows a broken window strategy, originally popularized by then New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani and NYPD Commissioner Bill Bratton, which focused on enforcing minor offenses to deter more serious crimes. All I remember about Giuliani is that he actually greatly reduced crime in New York, and for some reason everyone still hated him for it. I don't know what else he might have done, but like everyone seemed to hate that guy, and I don't know why. He cleaned up New York City and they never forgave him. We need to go after every single one of these violations. I can't talk about a lot of what we're doing publicly, but activists and others are giving us leads. Local officials are giving us leads, and we're carefully running down each of the leads. He was a lawyer. It put 2% behind bars. He allowed the stop and frisk policy. I mean, is that bad? Majority of New Yorkers loved Giuliani. I guess it's just other blue areas that might have fucking hated him for his tough on crime policies. Based Italian, true. Dillon emphasized prosecutors will bring charges only when supported by evidence that is 100% correct. If one does not lead to a conclusion that the person voted illegally, and I'm glad I did my due diligence rather than shooting from the hip. When non-citizens are found to have voted illegally, Dillon suggested the DOJ would pursue penalties such as barring them from future naturalization. That's one thing. They should be barred from ever coming back, period, to be fair. The former vice chair of the California Republican Party, Dillon considered whether New Jersey's figures could be extrapolated to other states, including California. I think there are more than 400 illegal votes cast in New Jersey, I'm willing to bet. New Jersey's a small state. I came from California, where I lived for the last 25 years. I'm going to predict, if I were in prediction market mode, that the figures there are orders of magnitude higher, she said. And the system is frankly rigged in such a way that officials don't want to know. People check off a box, nobody checks whether people are citizens or not. Nobody checks duplicates. It's a sloppy mess in most of the United States, and we Americans deserve better. When asked about Dillon's comments regarding California, an official in Governor Gavin Newsom's press office said the Democrat does not administer elections, count or certify results, and hopes vote tabulation can be completed faster following June's marathon primary period. Newsom recently signed the state's fiscal year 2027 budget, which includes about $40 million for increased county staffing, technology upgrades, and voter outreach, and approved a bill cutting the vote count deadline from 30 days to 13. That's good. That's good. It should be same day. You know, it shouldn't even have been 30 days. It shouldn't be 13. It should be same day voting, but you know, whatever. Fox News Digital reached out to California Secretary of State Shirley Weber for additional comment. Dillon said the New Jersey situation underscores why other states should partner with the federal government and turn over their electronic voter data. Many Democrat-led states have balked at such requests and are being sued in turn. Dillon said the national problem lies in automatic registration policies combined with a flood of illegal aliens. Dillon said the DOJ sent election monitors to key Arizona counties during Tuesday's primary and confirmed the agency will deploy federally trained monitors to several jurisdictions nationwide going forward. When asked what happens at the end of the 5-day window, her letter gives Sherrill and New Jersey Lieutenant Governor Dale Caldwell to respond with voter data. Dillon said her staff has filed an additional pleading in an ongoing suit against Caldwell as to why turning over the rolls is necessary. Why are so many people refusing to give over the voter rolls? Yeah, even like New Hampshire. Why are they refusing to give it over? What the fuck? You know why they're refusing to give? I know, but it's also fucking frustrating. It's just like, we know what you're doing when everyone wants you to do the thing and you're refusing to do the thing. With respect to this 5-day window, we're looking for voluntary enforcement, and what your viewers need to understand is that through a variety of court doctrines, there's window, after which you can't update the voter rolls, she said, noting most states' 90-day windows are closing. Meanwhile, in Trenton, State Senate Oversight Committee member Joe Panaccio sent a letter to Blanche asking the DOJ to not only probe voter rolls, but the entire motor voter framework, blamed by Sherrill for the problems. The French vendor that provides the technology for the system pushed back on Sherrill on that front, saying the issues do not lie in their systems, but in the Department of State. The people of New Jersey deserve more than empty assurances from the same government that oversaw this foreseeable failure, said Panaccio. They deserve an independent investigation that follows the evidence wherever it leads and provides a complete and transparent accounting of the facts that any vulnerabilities that led us here can be fully and immediately remedied. Asked about the new demand, Dillon suggests it simply widens the net of scrutiny, remarking, "We'll get to the bottom of it for sure." And I definitely hope some of these state people stop being so retarded and just give the voter rolls over. Like, again, all you're doing is making yourself look more suspicious, you know?
The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
So, there's been some updates on the David case. TLDR, David was the guy who apparently is a very famous singer, ? He went to go do like a tour in Europe. I had literally never heard of this individual before. And then a miner turned up, decapitated and mostly decomposed in the back of his Tesla that had been abandoned. And everyone was just like, wow, David's music is getting more listeners than ever after a miner was found murdered in his car. This is amazing for his career. Like, every article we initially read on this was just absolutely glazing this guy, and it made no fucking sense. And then the cops were so inept that they didn't arrest him for like almost a year. Like, they didn't even say he was a suspect for almost 10 fucking months, despite, like, the overwhelming amount of evidence is just insane in this case. And so it feels like they have the most incompetent people at every turn working on it. How did they not think he did it? I do not fucking know. Do not fucking know. And, so the new information that's been coming out, we have, David and Celeste Rivas Hernandez's respective parents knew about their relationship, according to LAPD Detective Corey Farrell. David attended church with Celeste's family in addition to her parents giving her permission to travel to London with the singer. So this immediately makes me think of a couple of things, right? If you have like a 12 or 13-year-old daughter and you're letting her travel to other countries and be in a romantic relationship with a dude who's like 19, 20 years old, are you pimping out your daughter? Is he paying you? Like, what the fuck is happening here? What the actual fuck? You don't... This is a family who very clearly did not care about their child and is only going to performatively cry at the cameras in the hopes of getting more money. And that, I think, is also an incredible indictment. And due to the parents knowing about this relationship and what we're going to learn in subsequent articles, I think the parents need to be charged as well. I think the parents are incredibly, disgustingly neglectful to an insane degree. And learning this new stuff that we've learned, I think, answers our questions, because all throughout all of these articles, when Celeste had been appearing in streams with this guy, being in his music, traveling a lot with him. All of us were just like, how the fuck did the parents not know about this? The answer was they did, and they allowed it to happen. Judge rules singer David must stand trial in killing of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Now, I read this on Twitter, and I was just like, as opposed to fucking what? They're like, oh, sorry, sir. You know how women are, just climbing into cars, decapitating themselves and decomposing. You're free to go. No further questions. In my anger about reading this retarded fucking title, I completely forgot about being ruled incompetent to stand trial. And so, if the judge is ruling that he must stand trial, I'm wondering if they tried to float the, but Your Honor, my client is too incompetent to have killed this woman. Either way, it's fucking horrific. Your Honor, have you seen his Spotify statistics? That's true. Your Honor, my client's monthly listeners have exploded at least 200-fold since he's been accused of this murder. Surely that means he didn't do it. If you're too incompetent to stand trial, you're too incompetent to live in society. That is my opinion. If you are ruled too incompetent to stand trial, you should just be taken out. A judge ruled Monday that there is enough evidence to put David on trial in the killing and dismemberment of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who authorities said had threatened to expose their relationship and crater the indie pop singer's rising career just a few days before his debut album dropped. I will end your career and your life, she told him in a text message sent the night before her death. You know what prevents you from getting text messages like this from minors? Not fucking and impregnating them. You can actually, with one simple trick, you can avoid this altogether. Just don't have sex with minors. Just don't be a rapist, bro. It's just that easy. Los Angeles Judge Charlene Olmedo decided that evidence presented during a preliminary hearing provided probable cause for a trial on charges of murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. How do we know that he mutilated her after he killed her? I mean, I guess they might, right? They might have like the autopsy report and so they know, but it's just like, I don't know. I want the information. The dark and disturbing details presented over 5 days brought tears, gasps, and horror to the courtroom. Sorry, I'm still like kind of angry. Horror to the courtroom. The evidence included grisly autopsy photos, explicit descriptions and depictions of sexual abuse, and a stark picture of the final text she sent minutes before she died and her phone went permanently silent. Do we get these text messages? Pedophiles hate this one simple trick. Yeah, true. The ruling was a major step in the 10-month investigation and prosecution of David that began when the dismemberment and decomposing body of a girl was found in the trunk of his Tesla in the Hollywood Hills in September while he was on tour. David showed no emotion as the decision is read, and now he heads to trial. The 21-year-old, whose legal name is David Burke, I hate that they do this, right? D4VD, pronounced David, whose legal name is David. It's just like, I understand that they have to say that because it's still spelt as a pseudonym, but it's still like reading it just sounds stupid. But I guess that's about the creativity you can expect from aspiring pop rapists. Ooh, he could be a pop rapist now. Showed no emotion when the judge issued her ruling, watching calmly and intently in his orange jail clothes and glasses as he had through the proceedings. He has pleaded not guilty, and his lawyers argued that the murder evidence was insufficient, but did not argue against the other two charges. They declined to comment outside of court. Evidence was insufficient. He's literally written multiple songs about killing her. He's literally, like, it was in his car. We have them having matching tattoos to like point that they were in a romantic relationship. We have all of these text messages. You have apparently the text message right before she died. I will end your career in your life. What am I missing here? Those lawyers have a lot of work. What am I missing, brother? Prosecutors argued that the evidence was overwhelming. Yes, I agree. Based on the mountains of evidence presented, Deputy District Attorney Beth Silverman said, all of the allegations have been proved way beyond the standard required. Didn't he have like some giant industrial like burning station at his house too? I remember him having like some giant burning cube thing.
The PI reported seeing, quote, items you would expect to find on a farm rather than in a home in the Hollywood Hills. And today, we are learning about one of those items. Steve Fisher has confirmed it was something called a burn cage. Take a look at your screen. That's what a burn cage looks like. It's used usually on farms to incinerate waste and debris, but lots of private homes have them as well. This particular model can apparently get up to a whopping 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 200 degrees hotter than the temperature required to burn human bones. And this is the photograph Steve took of that burn device, the burn cage inside David's home.
Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman said outside court the prosecutors presented only a small fraction of the evidence they have. They're still weighing whether to seek the death penalty, but Burke is eligible for it after Olmedo also found probable cause for lying in wait, killing for financial gain, and killing a potential witness. Special circumstances in a crime that allow for a death sentence. Well, it's in California, so we know he's not going to get a death sentence, but it would be a good society if he did. It's like people in these situations absolutely should be getting the death penalty, and I feel like it is an indictment upon our society that it doesn't happen. Olmedo ordered that Burke continue to be held without bail. An arraignment is to be held on August 31st, and a trial could happen as soon as 60 days later. The last night of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Before the decision, prosecutors gave a moment-by-moment account of Rivas Hernandez's last night. As she neared his Hollywood home shortly after 10 p.m. on April 23, 2025, in an Uber he had sent to pick her up. She sent her final text. "Girly pop, I'm almost there. Open your door if you're home." Prosecutors allege Burke stabbed her to death when she came through the door. Immediately? He was like, he didn't even want to talk things? He was just like, I'm just gonna kill you. I've made up my mind. What the fuck? What the fuck? The night before, the two argued via text about his relationship with a woman. She sent him an angry and profanity-riddled text saying that she will tell her dad so many lies about him and that she would end, quote-unquote, your career and your life. She had sent several similar messages around the same time. Now, you see, if this was an adult, I would be condemning her for this, but this is a minor. This is a minor, and David was the one who's supposed to be an adult and not engage in a romantic relationship as a groomer and a pedophile. So, like, she can say whatever the fuck she wants at this point. You get that she was a minor, but zero survival instincts? I mean, yeah, but I'm not gonna blame her for that. Most children don't have the upbringing I did. So most aren't going to have, like, good self-preservation instincts at that age. Prosecutor said that Burke met Rivas Hernandez when she was... I thought they met when she was 12. They met when she was 11 and began sexually abusing her when she was 13 and he was 18. A year before her death, the pair also exchanged messages about how she had become pregnant, and she assured him the baby was his and that she had an abortion. This is exactly why I said her parents should be charged too. There is no universe where parents allow an adult to groom their 11-year-old and then start fucking her when she's 13, and then she has to get an abortion. Like, that is like, if there's a word beyond neglect, that is the word that I would be using. Absolutely fucking ridiculous, dude. Abuse would be a good word. I don't know. I feel like it's even worse than abuse. They might as well be accomplices to the pedophile at this point. If you're letting your daughter get groomed and fucked by a pedophile, are you not an accomplice to said pedophile at this point? Should you not be charged similarly to the person actually doing this because you are allowing the damage to happen? The parents might as well be charged for child trafficking. Unironically pimping out your child. I don't know how people get this way, dude. I do not know how people do this to their children. During the preliminary hearing, prosecutors introduced photos of the two of them kissing and lying in bed. The pictures showed that she had David tattooed in red ink on a finger, one of the two that had been cut off when her body was found. And you're telling me that his attorneys are saying there's not enough evidence, and then one of the two fingers he cut off literally had his name tattooed on it? Come the fuck on, bro. Come the fuck on. Like, I know IQs are fucking rapidly dropping, but who do you expect to believe this, man? It's merely coincidental. Also, I understand why, like, Epstein had photos of powerful people with minors, right? Because you can use that as blackmail. But, like, if you are the pedophile and you are raping a minor, why would you keep photographs? Like, I'm glad that they're so fucking dumb that they just have all of this evidence against them. That's a good thing for the rest of us who would like them taken out of society. But it's just like, why would you keep that? Prosecutors said that they have records showing Burke ordered chainsaws and wading pools that he used to dismember her body in his garage, and that her DNA was found there on bloodstains. Why did it take you so long to arrest this guy? Fucking what, dude? This is insanity! How many articles did we read where they were just like, oh, we don't have any suspects yet? David's not a suspect, and then all of the articles glazing this fucking guy for getting more views on his music? What are we doing? They then said he drove around for weeks and even months with the body in his trunk before the seemingly abandoned Tesla was towed from the Hollywood Hills. What kind of fucked up, deranged freak, inhuman individual do you have to be to drive around with a dismembered corpse in your vehicle for months? It's just like that one fucking body cam that we watched where there was like a lady whose baby like starved to death and they just lived in the house with the corpse of it for months. How do people do that? Is this some sort of like object permanence issue where they just don't think about it? What about the smell? What about the fucking smell? How do you just ignore that? What is wrong with these people? The defense argues there's insufficient evidence for murder. The defense argued that the evidence didn't show the kind of malice that was required for the murder. He drove around for months with her body in the trunk. What the fuck do you mean does not show malice? What are we doing here? There's no evidence that Mr. Burke harbored a deliberate intent to kill Miss Hernandez, said Burke's attorney, Marilyn Bednarski. I hate Clown World. I hate Clown World and the people in it. She said the communications between Burke and Rivas Hernandez showed no threat, no evidence of a history of violence, and that he had the opposite of homicidal malice towards her. No evidence of a history of violence? Bro, he's a groomer and a rapist pedophile. That... Are you trying to say he raped her lovingly? Like, what are we doing here?
So what inspired the hook, "In the Back of My Mind You Died," is kind of like the storytelling aspect of the lyrics that came before it, in a way that it builds up to the big moment where she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died. And I didn't even cry, not a single tear.
She argued that a medical examiner ruling that her death was a homicide from 2 puncture wounds was too vague and inconclusive to be evidence of murder. It was actually a vampire. She got hit with a vampire, but he wasn't a pureblood vampire, so she didn't turn, she just died. The defense did not directly give an alternative theory on how she died and isn't required to. What? And the Zirconis, thank you. Tinfoil Hat Time, do you think maybe he was out for so long because he was an industry plant that had been behind-the-scenes support from Hollywood elites, which would also explain why so many people have heard of this supposedly popular artist? That's a good point. That's actually a very good point. You know, maybe he was. That's a completely plausible tinfoil hat theory I'm completely willing to fucking entertain. There we go. He has multiple songs about fantasies of killing her, plus he groomed her and abused her. You know, I'm wondering, right? If we go on that tinfoil hat theory, Enma Zirconis, if this guy was an industry plant and he was being propped up by other pedophiles in Hollywood, and that's why he was able to not be arrested for so long for this kind of thing, what if this was his initiation ritual? We're tinfoiling right now, chat. What if they were like, if you want to become part of this, you also have to become a pedophile like the rest of us, right? We can't just have somebody who's not going to have dirt on them being in here. And he was like, hold on, wait a minute. Everyone loves tortured artists. And to become a tortured artist, you can't fake it. You have to actually go through something horrific. So what if everything involving grooming and raping and murdering this girl was in order to advance his career? If he gets out in 5 years and his first album goes platinum, you're gonna glow. Yeah, you know, that's too much brain power for him. It wouldn't be like entirely his thought process if he's being propped up by other people in Hollywood, right? The defense also established that she had asked 7 times to come see him in the days before her death, and he reluctantly agreed only after she demanded it, and that she had threatened to kill Burke and to mutilate him. I feel like that's a normal reaction when someone realizes they've been raped and groomed, and the person who raped and groomed them is also throwing them away for another person, right? Like, if you put yourself in the mind of someone who has been groomed, you've probably been told that you can't do anything without that person, right? That they're the only one that you can count on, they're the only one you can rely on, they're the only one who loves you, right? He even had, like, the perfect family setup of, like, your parents have never actually cared about you, I'm the only one who's cared about you, right? And it said earlier in the article that she was angry about him doing something with another woman. We don't know what that something is, but it's like, again, put yourself in her mind, where this guy has told you that you are important to him and that you can't do anything without him, and now you're being betrayed in this manner, right? All of this is fucked up because it never should have happened because he's a pedophile, but you have to think about what the minor victim's mental state would be at the time. Silverman told the judge that the defense tried numerous times throughout these proceedings to dirty up the victim despite her being a child. Farrell, the detective, also said under defense questioning that the parents of both Burke and Rivas Hernandez knew about their relationship, that he had attended church with the members of her family, and that her parents had given their consent for her to go to London with him for a week. Patrick Seinfeld, an attorney for Rivas Hernandez's family, said after that hearing that they were horrified that the defense attorneys brought up evidence to put blame on a 14-year-old girl. Her parents sat in the front row through most of the hearing, but sat out some of the more graphic parts and left in the middle of the sexual testimony after her mother began crying. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about the parents anymore, right? Like, all of this is just crocodile tears to me. I don't think these parents gave a single fucking shit, and any kind of shit that they're pretending to give right now is merely performative because they know they have to look devastated in the public eye, or else they might not get the, like, sentencing that they might want. This is, I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. Nobody who pimps out their minor child is going to be this upset when they come to the logical conclusion and end up dead. I just don't believe you. David's career was reaching new heights at the time of the killing. David, pronounced David, became an online musical phenomenon as a teen with a blend of indie rock, R&B, and lo-fi pop. He had huge followings on TikTok, SoundCloud, and Spotify, where his top songs, including his 2022 breakthrough, Romantic Homicide, have more than 1 billion plays. What they don't tell you is that Romantic Homicide is a song he wrote about killing Rivas Hernandez, and it got 1 million gajillion billion more plays after the homicide happened, because everyone was like, yeah, it's obvious this guy fucking did it. I even played the song on stream. In 2024, he played the Coachella Music Festival and released his first full-length album, Withered, 2 days after authorities say Rivas Hernandez was killed. Somewhat I've, like, at least the other people who go and play Coachella, like, I've heard of them. Who the fuck is this guy? How did he get to play at something that large? Nobody knows who the fuck this is. The parents only cared about gaining wealth after she would have eventually married David, but David the Psycho decided to murder her instead. Yeah, I have a feeling, you know, they were probably getting paid somehow. I think most people can understand why he had to do this to save his career. He was caught between a rock and a hard place, and don't anybody here tell me you wouldn't do exactly the same thing?
You what?
Someone check this guy's hard drive. Here's this one simple trick to just not be in the situation. Don't be a pedophile. Don't rape minors. Man, that's crazy, bro. That dude's a psycho. Yeah, what the fuck is this comment? What the fuck? I think David was involved in the murder, but I really wonder why someone would dump a body in their own Tesla. Because they're low IQ. Anyway, I think this is a good place to share my idea that I've pushed elsewhere on social media. Even if he gets the death penalty, not sure they have that in California. You literally read in the article that they're going to push for the death penalty. It'll take 30 years to carry it out. It shouldn't. It's much like deportations. You shouldn't get 1 million appeals and a really long time. It should be rather quick. I think that every person on death row and these horrible murderers serving like 30 plus years should periodically be put in a room where they can push a button or something and kill themselves. Why would they do that? If you put them in a room and they have to push a button to kill themselves, why would they do that? Like, I'm sure some of them might take the opportunity, but the grand majority would not. What the fuck? it's perfect. The so-called state hasn't killed anyone, and we just got rid of someone who's getting 3 squares, hot showers, a gym, and healthcare for many, many years. I'm not saying a lot of people would do it, but come on, let's give them a chance. Just use a bullet, man. We don't need to, like, reinvent the wheel. We can just execute them easily and cleanly. You like the Japanese way? You don't know when your last day is until the guards come in and say, today's the day? That puts a mental strain on you. I like that. No death penalty. He should be made to live out the rest of his days in general pop. The rest of his days won't last long. Just give him the death penalty! Why are so many people so obsessed with, like, well, let's kill him in a different way? Just fucking shoot them, bro. Took 5 days for the judge to rule that he should stand trial for murder. The trial's gonna be a circus. The young girl did not deserve this. Yep. I feel like every single trial is going to be even more clown worldy than the last, as we've seen from, like, the Carmelo Anthony circus and the guy who killed Irina Zarutska not even being competent enough to stand for trial, and yet we're still somewhat keeping him alive. U.S. singer David to go on trial for murder and death of 14-year-old. I want to see if this article has more information before I get to the one that's completely different. I swear to God, I will kill you! One expletive-laden text said, followed by a threat to strangle him and tell her dad lies about him. I will end your career and your life. I will damage anything, the text went on. The following day, Hernandez went to Burke's Hollywood home in an Uber he had sent to pick her up. Prosecutors allege that Burke stabbed her once she arrived. During questioning at the hearing on Monday, Detective Corey Farrell of the Los Angeles Police Department said text messages indicated that the defendant and the girl had attended church with her family. In response to the defense, the detective said he was aware that the teen had misrepresented her age to the defendant, telling him she was 16 and 18 at different times. I feel like if you're in a relationship with someone for multiple years and you start grooming them when they're 11, you can't... Really? Really? You're gonna believe an 11-year-old saying they're 16 or 18 and the parents have never fucked up saying her real age on any of her birthdays in front of you? Like, what are we doing here? He knew her since she was 11. Yeah, right. Like, what the fuck? Every time you want to make a comment about her decision-making, you need to remind yourself she was a kid. Yeah, same. If this was an adult woman, I would be so much fucking harder on her for being a retard. Cause, like, this would be, like, unacceptable retard behavior from an adult, but they're a minor, so. You can see someone making the mistake of 16 is 18, but 11 being a 16 is nah. Yeah, right? Burke's defense lawyers argued there was not sufficient evidence that he had committed the crime. They said her parents were aware of what was going on between them and had even given written consent for her to travel to London with Burke for a week. The defense highlighted texts on the 22nd and the 23rd of April that suggested Celeste had insisted on going to Burke's Hollywood Hills home and that he had argued against her coming before agreeing to send her to an Uber on the night of the 23rd. I really hate when people do this, right? Like when you're arguing with someone, all right? Like I haven't had a relationship with a minor, only other adult men, obviously. But it's like when you're arguing with an adult man and they're doing the thing where they're just like, yeah, I'm just not gonna fucking talk to you because I don't want to address this argument. I don't care about your feelings. I'm gonna do what I want. And it's just like, well, I'm just gonna come to your fucking house then. I'm gonna come to your house and we're gonna talk about this because you can't just leave this conversation. You can't just not finish this conversation because this is an incredibly important one that is going to have consequences on our relationship if there is one still down the line. And like every time this happens, obviously the dude's like, no, don't come here. You're not coming to my house. And it's like, what the fuck you mean I'm not coming to your house, right? Like, of course I am. Just don't be in a relationship with a minor. Yeah, it's that simple. The defense is literally grasping at straws right now. This is obviously a losing case, so they will attempt to at least reduce the sentence or something. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But it's just like, the defense is going to highlight him saying like, oh, you can't come here, don't come here, I refuse to see you, as like something that means anything more than a mentally immature man not wanting to have a conversation. And the fact that he is that mentally immature and a pedophile makes it even worse. He repeatedly expressed love and care for Miss Hernandez after they broke up. Defense attorney Marilyn Bednarski said in court, he's a pedophile! I don't care! I don't care if the pedophile says, I really did love that 11-year-old. I don't care! Kill him! Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Charlene Olmedo ruled that evidence presented during the preliminary hearing provided probable cause for a trial. Burke is charged with murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, and unlawful mutilation of human remains. The people have met their burden on all counts, Judge Olmedo said. She found that prosecutors met the threshold for the charge of murder with special circumstances, including lying in wait, motive for financial gain, and eliminating a witness. Following the hearing, Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman said his office only presented a fraction of the evidence it had against Burke, and that it would present everything in the coming trial. That's smart to do, unironically. Like, I want more information, and I want it now, but I understand withholding it until the trial. Hochman also said his office had not yet determined if it would pursue the death penalty against Burke. You should. Fucking do it, retard. Gruesome images of the girl's dismembered corpse were shown in court during the preliminary hearing. A homicide detective testified that Burke ordered a body bag, chainsaws, an inflatable pool, and a shovel online in the days after Celeste's death. It's like, why would you, like, leave an easy paper trail? Like, why are people so fucking... I'm glad they're dumb, because then we can catch them. If we couldn't catch them, I'd be angry. So it's like, it's a good thing they're dumb, but it's like, come the fuck on, man. Yes, Kirsche, but consider you have an IQ over 70. So he's like a DEI murderer. Yeah, it's like a DEI murderer, man. Prosecutors highlighted records that revealed Burke ordered chainsaws and a shovel to his residence after April 23rd. They allege he used a chainsaw to dismember Hernandez's body. I cannot imagine what mental state you have to be in to do something like this. Right? Like, even if I hypotheticalize, like, how I would do something, like, thinking about actually, like, doing it is horrifying. It's like, what goes through someone's brain as they're dismembering someone they just murdered? That's horrific. However, Los Angeles Police Department criminalist Lauren Wallace testified that the chainsaws found in his garage tested negative for the presence of blood and were not tested for DNA thereafter, a point the defense highlighted in their attempt to prove the evidence presented was inconclusive. However, investigators were unable to locate a third 10-inch Makita chainsaw, which prosecutors claim Burke also ordered following Hernandez's death. I don't know what he used to dismember her, but her blood was found in his garage, and he used, like, inflatable pools to try and catch most of the blood. Texts reveal 14-year-old allegedly murdered by singer David had pregnancy and abortion. Oh, they even have a little warning here. Texts between singer David and Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the 14-year-old he's accused of murdering, reveal that she had been pregnant and had an abortion before her death. The messages were shown during a hearing for a judge to determine if the singer, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke, should go on trial for the teen's death last year. What if the first abortion didn't work? Celeste texted Burke in June 2024, according to prosecutors. She was 13 years old at the time, and he was 19. Prosecutors say Burke killed her after she threatened to reveal he had been abusing a minor and destroy his career. He had pleaded not guilty to charges of murdering and sexually abusing the girl. In an exchange from January 2024, Burke apologized to the teen for, quote-unquote, putting her through this, according to messages shown in the Los Angeles court on Friday. She responded, "Neither of us are capable of watching and taking care of the baby. It's for the best, no?" Burke asked, "Also, my mother always told me to ask this question if I was ever in this situation. It is mine, right? If these were two adults, I would say that's a smart mother and a smart man. But this is a pedophile and his minor grooming rape victim. So this just makes him sound like a fucking retard." Celeste replied, "Of course it's yours, David," according to testimony from a detective. The court heard that in another text to the teen sent in June 2024, Burke wrote, "Let's let this abortion be the last one until we have the real one." How many fucking abortions did she have? The fucking... Where is it? What if the first abortion didn't work? Let's let this abortion be the last until we have a real one. How... What? This is the kind of shit that makes people who are pro-choice go, fuck it. Clearly nobody is responsible enough to actually have it legal, safe, and rare. So fuck them. You know, like this is the kind of shit that turns people against it. Prosecutors presented iCloud data recovered from the defendant's iPhone showing texts between him and Celeste dating back to August 8th, 2022, when she was 11 years old and he was 17. The device belonging to Burke also had photos of the teenager during the alleged sexual abuse. Prosecutors and Los Angeles Police Detective Corey Farrell said on Friday. The victim's mother, Mercedes Rivas Hernandez, never trust a bitch named Mercedes. That's rule number fucking 1, dude. Became visibly emotional and left the court with her husband as details of some of the pictures were described during the proceedings. Burke's phone also showed conversations the two had about moving in together, which they had dubbed Operation Awesome. I fucking hate pedophiles, dude. What the fuck? The pair broke up in November 2024, but stayed in contact, according to a memo filed by prosecutors earlier this year. Prosecutors allege they argued on the night before her death, allegedly over Burke's relationships with other women. Dr. Grant Ho of the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner, who conducted the post-mortem examination on Celeste, also testified on Friday. He told the court it was extremely difficult to tell exactly when the girl died, owing to the state of decomposition when her remains were found. Lawyers for the defense seized on that uncertainty, questioning whether it was possible that the teenager could have somehow harmed herself.
What?
If she had somehow harmed herself, why was she chopped up, decomposing in his car for months? Other women or other children? Actually, a great question. They haven't actually said who the other women were, so it could be other children. Mama. Farrell, the police detective, testified that DNA taken from blood found in Burke's Hollywood Hills home and garage were a match for Celeste. David, who rose to fame on TikTok with his viral hits Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, I don't know Here With Me, but Romantic Homicide was literally about killing this minor, was on tour when police found Celeste's body in the front boot of his Tesla in September 2025, the day after she would have turned 15. His worldwide tour was cancelled and he largely retreated from public life and social media. Police announced his arrest in April of this year. That is insane. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman has filed 7 criminal charges against him, including murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child, and the mutilation of remains. They said the teen was reported missing by her family and was last seen at Burke's home on April 3rd, 2025, 5 months before her remains were discovered in the Tesla. Prosecutors have said he met Celeste online when she was 11 and allege he started sexually abusing her when she was 13 and he was 18. Friday marked the 4th day of testimony in the pretrial hearing. Earlier revelations by prosecutors included that Hernandez had been brought by Burke to London and Texas to meet members of his family there. Testimony is expected to resume on Monday. This was the older of the 2 articles, but it had the most new information, in my opinion. And this guy did some kind of write-up, I guess, from the court stuff. That prosecutors believe Celeste was killed within 21 minutes of arriving at David's rental home. Prosecutors laid out what they described as a critical timeline from the night of April 24th, 2025, arguing that Celeste was murdered within 21 minutes of arriving at David Hollywood Hills rental home. At 8:39 p.m., Burke ordered an Uber to pick up Rivas Hernandez from her family's home in Elsinore and drove her to his Hollywood Hills residence. 10:10 p.m., according to prosecutors, Burke texts her, "Gate open, door unlocked," as Uber records confirm she arrives at the house. 10:31 to 10:36 p.m., just 21 minutes after her arrival, Burke allegedly sends a series of unanswered text messages. "Where you at? Hello," and "Bro, Celeste." Prosecutors argue these messages were staged, noting that Rivas Hernandez never responded and never sent another message from her phone. At 11:30 p.m., cell phone records and GPS data indicate Burke begins driving north towards Santa Barbara. Overnight, Tesla location tags show several programmed stops along the route, including Lake Cachuma and a Tesla supercharger in Santa Ynez, where investigators later recovered the victim's passport card. But there's not enough evidence, by the way. Prosecutors contend this timeline demonstrates that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was killed within minutes of entering the residence before David Burke allegedly drove north overnight, making stops at locations they believe are connected to the disposal of the evidence. So what is this? This is a drawing. Trunk before left and after right. What the fuck? So this is just the vehicle. This is like a bag. It looks like, I don't know, an ID, some kind of a bag, a yo-yo, 2 bottles of Purell. I don't know what else that stuff is. And then insect activity in and around trunk. Before and after of, maybe this is the garage. This says trunk, but this doesn't look like a trunk. This looks like a doorway into a home. And this is the back seat. Tesla processing with Blue Star. I don't know what that means. Condom wrappers? No, I don't think so. And this is a trash bag. I guess this is just a rendition of body parts inside the trash bag. Opening of the Tesla. There's the finger with the matching tattoo on it. Bro, do you have any idea how many retards in chat tried arguing with me that she did not have the matching tattoo, even though we read multiple articles that said she indeed did? And there was even like an image of her that we had. Maybe it was an image of him. I can't remember. But we had articles that said that she had the tattoo. And people were like, Kirsche, she didn't actually have the it was just a tattoo. David stands in the chat. And I guess this is a rendition of maybe another missing finger. Possibly the one or the one that had his name on it. An image of her right knee. I guess this is maybe the head, question mark? Because you can see the trash bag in the background. This must be the incinerator. This looks like a laundry machine. I can't read that. It looks like Ulkranya 99 Mondes. I don't know. A couple of chainsaws. There's the kiddie pool that he used. Heavy duty laundry. Another pool. I don't know what that is. I can't tell. These are drawings of body parts. This might be more body parts here. I can't really tell what this is. Maybe like cloth. These are clothes that victims' clothes here. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, I guess, like, this is impressive, right? Because I'm sure you have to draw these fast as fuck while this is happening. So it's impressive that they're at least as legible as they are. Looks to you like Victoria Mendez, 79 pounds, but you don't know if that means anything. Oh, that's true. He does kind of look like a Victoria. Maybe it's like the brand of the washing machine. I don't know. You envy court artists so much for being able to go so fast, so detailed, and so recognizable from life on average. It's pretty impressive. Like, it's obnoxious to try and, like, figure out what they drew as, like, an untrained person, but it's impressive that they can draw so, like, as legibly as they do in such a fast time. Trump administration just published a new regulation allowing asylum officers at USCIS to deny hundreds of thousands of applications without an interview, sending applicants directly to deportation proceedings. This means many people will never get a chance to argue their case. Good. They're here illegally. They're here fraudulently. They do not get a chance to argue their case. Their case is to get the fuck out. And this letter says, Department of Homeland Security 8 CFR Part 208. Affirmative asylum referrals without interview. Agency, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, DHS, action, interim final rule with request for comments. Summary. Department of Homeland Security is amending its regulations to permit U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services to refer certain affirmative asylum applications to the Department of Justice Executive Office for immigration review, without interview. USCIS still offers an interview prior to a grant or denial of asylum. DHS is also removing the requirement that a letter communicating the basis for referral of asylum include an assessment of the alien's credibility. You know how much credibility an illegal alien has? Fucking zero! This is amazing fucking news. And the effective date, interim final rule, is effective. Insert date of publication in the Federal Register. All right, so we need a date, but you know. Oh no, they won't be able to waste more of our money while trying to cling to our benefits like leeches. Yeah, this is amazing news. This is fucking great. And I'm sure there'll be some, like, liberal cuck that tries to prevent this from happening, and hopefully we just say, no. This is exactly how you actually uphold the Constitution. The Constitution does not apply to illegals. They do not get the protections that we do. Ian Garry says if women ruled the world, everything would be better.
Should look at his wife and know that that's the person I need to listen to. Like, if the world was run by women, we'd all live in a better world. Like, it would all be simpler and easier. That's the fact of the matter, whether you want to agree with it or not, or you think whatever it is. If women ruled the world and we just listened to them and let them take over, it would be an easier world.
Can I just jump in?
Here, he said. What the fuck? I want to point out, everyone who has eyeballs can see that women in positions of power are heinously destructive. Like, weak men in positions of power are very destructive. They're very, very bad. But women are worse than those weak men. This guy is a weak man. The men agreeing with him is a weak man. There are a lot of people who want to de facto just blame the women. But the women were put in these positions by men. Feminists were not able to get anything done without men allowing it first. Men were the ones that forced us to suffer under this tyranny of toddler ethics. The weak men must be dealt with. The weak men do not understand that their strange, misguided virtue signaling is leading to the destruction of everything that matters. Women are important, women can do very great things, and yes, there's a small minority of women who can be suited to more male-oriented positions. It is a small minority, and they should be brought there on the same exact merits as men. And as we've seen, that doesn't happen. We've had affirmative action for how long? We've had lowering standards in order to get more women into more positions they don't belong in for how long? Women, yes, should be able to do what they want, but you should also understand limitations that you may have as an individual. Not everyone who wishes to be a doctor can be or should be one. Not everyone who wishes to be a judge can be or should be one. And we have standards put in place to weed out those people who, yes, may want to be one, but are not capable of doing a good job. And the weak men decimate all of that. And so it's like, I always say, whenever people start getting on there like, oh, the women have ruined everything, white women are a cancer, you can't trust any women to do anything. And I get it when you're bombarded with incompetent white female judges, incompetent white female police officers, incompetent women in every area of your life, from like fast food drive-thrus to the DMV to customer support to wherever the fuck you're trying to be. I get it. Everyone is like insulated in this bubble of like all of these women are doing horrific things. But you have to think, someone had to get that horrific woman into that position she doesn't belong in the first place. That was the weak men. There was a guy here that says, Maine Democrats' coronation to replace Graham Plattner opens with a land acknowledgement. We're meeting today in the unceded homeland of the Penobscot Nation. The Maine Democratic Party acknowledges that the Maliseet, the Mi'kmaq, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot tribal nations.
I want to pause first to recognize that we are meeting today in the unceded homeland of the Penobscot Nation. The Maine Democratic Party acknowledges that the Maliseet, Mi'kmaq, Passamaquoddy, and Penobscot tribal nations,
I wonder how long he practiced to be able to say that without tripping,
have long been stewards of the places where most of us live and work, and that they are entitled to recognition as distinct sovereign entities.
First of all, didn't they try doing this in like Vermont or some shit? And then they had an investigation and found out that the land that people were claiming was native land wasn't actually native land, and then they got told to fuck off. It was like a Ben & Jerry's ice cream plant or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like some commercial building bullshit. Yeah, that was Vermont. Was it Ben & Jerry's? Am I remembering that correctly?
But they are now being asked to live up to what they're preaching about the US existing on stolen land that must be returned. An Indigenous tribe descended from the Native American nation that originally controlled the land in Vermont that Ben & Jerry's headquarters is located on, well, they want their land back. The chief of the Nulhegan Band of Cussack Abenaki Nation told Newsweek they wanted to reclaim stewardship of their lands, but Ben & Jerry's had failed to approach them. Imagine my shock here. And we're not immune to this type of corporate virtue signalling.
Steve says, this isn't just stupid, it's false. Maine is not unceded land. The chairman of the Maine Democratic Party, despite being a lawyer, is just factually wrong about that status of tribal land claims. The Wabanaki tribe ceded their land claims when they agreed to the Maine Indian Claims Settlement Act. President Carter signed the act on October 10th, 1980. The tribal governing bodies of the Passamaquoddy tribe, the Penobscot Nation, and the Holton Band of the Maliseet Indians, later the Aroostook Band of Mi'kmaqs, unanimously approved the agreement. In exchange, they ceded all claims to land owned by federal, state, and local governments, as well as private parties. The tribe specifically agreed to extinguish and release all claims or potential future claims to land in exchange for $81.5 million. That seems like a lot of money in 1980, which was split between cash and land. They took the money and forfeited their legal or moral claim to the land. Anyone blathering about stolen or unceded land is just a moron who doesn't know Maine history. You can argue that the 1980 Act was a raw deal. Stephen believes it was. You can argue that the implementing legislation wasn't favorable enough to the tribes. He also thinks that's true. You can argue that the tribal elders embezzled all the money and made shitty decisions about what land to acquire. Also true, he says. But you cannot say that the land is unceded, because it is ceded in every possible legal definition of the claim, or of the term. Charles Dingman is a dumbass. Well, I mean, his name is Dingman. Dingman the Dingbat, as it were. The Dems aren't going to mention that last part. Of course they're not. Of course they're not. It's the same with, like, all of the aid we send to places in Africa, right? It just gets embezzled and used by the government. They don't actually help their own people. And so essentially any aid sent to Africa is being thrown into a fucking void. Portland, Maine, counter-protesting leftists, lunatics lose it and try to fight, I guess, whoever this guy is, Corn Pop from Maine. I don't know if you want to be called Corn Pop from Maine. Wasn't Corn Pop fucking that one guy who liked pudding pops and also did bad things? I forget his name. Bill Cosby. Wasn't that Bill Cosby? Corn Pop, he was a bad dude. Oh god. Corn Pop was a bad guy. I forgot. Kirsche 20 forever. True. True and real. Corn Pop was a bad dude. Leftists say Abraham Lincoln was friends with the KKK. Lose their minds, banshee scream, throw objects. Others arrive and angry that Nick is armed. Challenge Nick to a fight. He disarms. Yeah, that's the smart thing to do. Unlike Alex Pretty, if you're going to get into a confrontation on purpose, maybe not, right? Maybe don't do that. Ryan caught footage of others calling the police on Nick for being armed. What a weird thing to call the police for.
Yeah. Yeah. Really?
Fuck.
Yeah. And guess what? If you comply, you don't die. If
True.
you comply, you don't die. Who's the first Republican president? Who's the first Republican president? Who's the first Republican president?
I don't fucking
Abraham Lincoln, dipshit. Hey, guess who voted to keep slaves? The Democrat Party. Wait, you just said Abraham Lincoln was a KKK member?
The person who
The guy that freed the slaves. Oh my God.
he systematically
Yeah. Systematically, my ass. You need to systematically hit a gym.
No, more. Don't fucking out.
Oh, was that a mic drop? Was that supposed to be a mic drop? Was that supposed to be a mic drop? Did you just throw something at me? Hey, next time hit me, dipshit. You guys miss every time. Woo! Good job.
Good job, woman. You threw a can.
What do you mean? It's my constitutional right to open carry. Yeah. And you know what happened when I went to Biddeford? I got assaulted 4 fucking times. Yeah, I'm live on Facebook.
What up, fuckers?
Yeah.
Fuck all of you.
Yeah.
Fuck every single one of you fucking MAGA fucks.
Yeah.
You won't put your gun down, you fucking bitch. You're a fucking bitch.
How does someone get indoctrinated to that degree? Like, look at his, like, angry pulsing vein. That's insane to me.
I'm letting knock you fuck out.
You ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna do it.
No, I
You couldn't do it, bro. You couldn't do it. Do it. Do it. I didn't even flinch, bro. I didn't even flinch. I didn't even flinch, soy boy. I didn't even flinch, cut boy. Yeah. Yeah, you ain't gonna do shit, cut boy. You ain't gonna do shit, cut boy. Yeah.
Officer, I'm like so scared. He has a firearm and it's making me feel unsafe. So you need to take away his constitutional rights.
Did he tell them? I just got on the scene. Do you know? Did he tell them they had a gun or?
I think it's a little crazy that the people who literally want to kill you are going to cry to police officers that you are armed to defend yourself from them, right? Like, they want to kill you. They know they want to kill you. And the only thing stopping them is the fact that you can defend yourself. If you allow your guns to be taken, it is going to be fucking deer hunting season, buddy.
Openly carrying.
Oh, they're openly carrying. Got you.
No fair, he gets to establish standoff distance. They don't hate guns, they hate their enemies can have guns. I've been saying for many years that most of the gun grabbers who are just like, there's no reason to have a gun. Guns are violent by their very nature. People don't kill people, guns kill people. Right, those people, they say that because they know that they are dangerous if they were to have a weapon. They don't trust themselves to be able to wield a weapon in a, like, decent manner. They believe that everyone is just as violent and distorted as they are. And so that's why they actively try to get rid of gun rights. So this guy said, the post-liberals believe that in order to save America, we need to abandon the principles that built it. This is like saying in order to save our house from a fire, we should burn it down. For the well-adjusted person, I think it goes without saying, if we abandon the very thing we say we're trying to save, we've already lost. I can understand the rationale this guy has, but he is like 50 years too late to have this kind of position. If your principles are only going to lead you to die, what good are they? You are not conserving anything. You are not saving anything. You are contributing to the fire at this point. And Christian pointed that out. He said, these people have amnesia of the last 12 years. Large parts of the house have already been burned down. You all did nothing to stop it because stopping it requires violating a bunch of your principles that your enemies do not care about and are happy to exploit when it suits them. Your solution to the problem is to read the fire code aloud inside a burning building and then pretend like that's going to somehow put out the flames. And he's completely correct. He's absolutely correct. And it's unfortunate that we have so many fucking do-nothings and finger-wagging retards instead of men who actually want to get shit done. You're honestly just sitting here waiting for these people to understand that at this point in the game we can't vote our way out of this. All I can realistically tell you is to get involved politically. But otherwise, I unfortunately do agree with you. That's some lofty idealism. Now come down here to reality where we're in the trenches. Yep. And especially since our justice system has been completely co-opted, it's not just the judges, it's also the AGs, it's also a lot of the cops, it's also people using the I'm just following orders. I don't care if you're just following orders, bro. Like, what the fuck? And the Democrats always try to turn it around and be like, hello, military, you don't have to follow any illegal actions. It's not the Republicans who have been telling people to do illegal things. It's not the Republicans who have been inciting violence from every single one of their mentally ill foot soldiers. Republicans sit there and do nothing. That is what they do. You actually can and have been voting out of this. Sorry that things don't change in literally 5 minutes. The worry is, because there's a lot of people on the right on social media, I say on the right with very heavy quotes, by the way, who say to punish the Republicans by voting Democrat. I do not think people realize what will happen if that happens. Voting for the party of people that say we are literally going to kill you is not going to bring about any kind of change that you want. Where's bro been the last decade? And so it's like, yeah, sure, if we have the time, we could vote our way out of this. I agree. But do we? Do we have the time? Especially when there are so many people colluding to try and punish Republicans for their do-nothingness. It's like, yeah, sure, I would love to see them punished as well, but it's not a punishment for them to vote for people who want to kill you. And considering people can just cheat and win voting while gleefully smiling and laughing about it says a lot. Yeah. Things can't get better in 5 minutes. A completely retarded thing to say when it's been getting worse for 10 years, for way longer than that. And it's like, Christian and I both post about, like, not becoming black-pilled, don't become demoralized. Even if you have, like, a dick hair's chance in hell of voting your way out of this, still at least try. Don't give up, because giving up is what the enemy wants. That is what demoralization is. It might feel fruitless, it might feel worthless, it might feel like, well, with all of the cheating, what does it even matter? Still do it. You don't stop doing something that might have an effect because it also might not. To be honest, it's been getting worse as a mechanism since at least World War I, if not earlier. Yeah, I agree. Keep talking about the infection or people will just accept it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Looking at the pattern of Republican and Democrats taking turns after each other, the Democrats have a socialist that's running for president next election and you're nervous, so you say now is the best time to do something before it's too late. We've already seen communists getting elected in New York, in Virginia, in Washington. They're getting elected on the state level. It's only a matter of time before everyone at the state level is some form of communist or Islamist or both. Which means it's only a matter of time until one of them tries running for the presidency as well. You cannot vote your way out of communism. That is what is scary, and that is what people keep talking about. You have the option to keep voting right now, so even if you think it's pointless, still fucking do it.